Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another hacking tutorial. My name's Chris, according to a letter I received about my car's extended warranty. And today we're going to be doing another CTF. In today's Capture the Flag, we're going over the RootMe box. Really fun, beginner-friendly Capture the Flag, but there are a lot of good things to take away that you can use throughout your career in more advanced things. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay up to date with all the latest and greatest hacking tutorials. Without further ado, let's jump into the box and see what we're working with. Alright, so here we are. We are at the RootMe box. All right, let's copy the IP address. What are they looking for? Deploy the machine. Done. Dude, look at that. We're already crushing it. Task 1 complete. Too easy. All right, what do we got? Scan the machine. How many ports are open? All right, easy enough. Let's just do a quick little nmap scan. Let's add the SC and the SV. I love adding those two. SC, for those who don't know, is for scripts. It'll check if there's any, scripts that are used for vulnerabilities. SV are the version numbers that can be of different things on the ports. Different version numbers for Apache or whatever they're running. Let's run that. And whenever nmap's running, I like to just immediately check if there's anything going on with web server, any HTTP, HTTPS, anything like that, because a lot of these boxes tend to have that, and this one is no different. All right, cool. So at least we know there's port 80. You can tell it's port 80. By the way, it is. No, you can actually tell it's port 80 because it says connection is not secure. So HTTP, not HTTPS. All right, our nmap came back. SSH is open. All right, that's always good. Let's see what we got. Port 80, we know that. And that's it. So let's just answer the first one. How many ports are open? 2. Or dos. All right, so next things first. Geez. Next thing we can do is, let's clear this out. Let's do a directory enumeration. Let's just see what this has that other directories within here that we can find. So we're going to run GoBuster. We're going to give it the dir argument so it can do directory enumeration. We're going to pass it the URL with -u. It's going to be http // and put our IP address there. And we're going to pass a word list. Let's use user share word list. Is common in here? No, I think it's under dir. Derb. Derb. Yeah, common. Okay. I'm just gonna use the common TXT versus the medium one I usually do, because the medium one sometimes just takes too long, and this one's just kind of really short. Short, straight to the point. All right, nothing crazy here. 403 is forbidden. We're not gonna find anything crazy there. There's a CSS page. Probably nothing interesting in there. There is an index.php. That's the main page. There's a JavaScript page. Panel. Okay, that's not. All these right here are pretty standard. Well, except for you usually don't put your JavaScript on a directory like that or your CSS. But the rest are pretty standard. Server status, that's going to give us a 403, but the panel's a weird one. So I'm going to actually look at that. Anything that stands out is something that's worth checking out. Okay, so there's a file upload. Okay, let me see what Wapalizer says. For those who don't know, once again, Wapalizer, awesome Mozilla Firefox extension that you can use for whenever you're doing anything web-based hacking, pen testing, black hat. I mean, I don't condone it, but you do you. But Wapalizer will actually tell you all the different technologies run on it, the web server type. So now we know it's Apache, so it's probably running Linux, and the operating system here we find out is Ubuntu, so it is Linux. And importantly, too, it also tells what programming languages are under it, PHP. So that's something interesting, because PHP, and if I see a file upload with PHP, the first thing I think of is reverse shell file uploads, right? So if we just go to not GTF opens, if we go to Pentest Monkey, right? Pentest Monkey, oops. The GitHub has a really good reverse shell. Let me find the GitHub. Here we go. And we've used this reverse shell in other capture flags that we've ran. So this is a PHP reverse shell, and what it basically does is it creates a socket between the web server that's hosting this website and us, and then we can then use Netcat to open up that connection for communication, and it creates a shell. Right here, you see the bin shell. Cool. So I already have this saved because I've used this so often. All right, finish. So nothing else of interest. Ooh, uploads as well. Okay, so that may be a way for us to use our payload. Let me open up a new tab so we can keep that where it's at. So I have a directory created for this already, and within it, I have a reverse shell already set up. I can uh, I have it open here on Sublime. So whenever you're using this right here, it tells you to change these two items. Change this to whatever IP you're using. That's if you're using this on TryHackMe, make sure that you're using your Tune0 IP address because that's the one. If you're using the OpenVPN, because that's the one that's connecting to them, and then whatever port you're setting it to. I obviously set it to the official hacking port, so we'd be fine with that. So let's run netcat, and we're gonna make it to listen on port 1337. Cool. So now we're listening. Now let's upload this file into here. All right, let's browse. We have it under documents. TryHackMe. Cool. We're gonna let's upload this reverse shell. Okay, so it's Portuguese, I think. PHP not permitted. Okay. Okay, but that's fine. That's okay. What we need to do now is just make a couple little tweaks. That's okay. So they have some sort of either whitelist or blacklist that's blocking, that's either allowing, if it's a whitelist, it's only allowing certain extensions. If it's a blacklist, it's specifically blocking certain extensions. But whatever the case is, there are ways to circumvent that because in order to run PHP, you don't necessarily need PHP as the file extension. If I go here, back to rootme, right, we can check, we have our reverse shell PHP. There are other ways we can do this. So we can change the name to, let's try reverse shell PHP. You can do PHP like 3, PHP 4, PHP 5, right? So let's just throw PHP 3 in here. And let's try that again. Oops. Select the file. So PHP 3 worked. Funny enough. Okay, that is interesting. And because this is being uploaded, and we did see earlier, where is it, that we did have an uploads directory. Let's navigate over to that. And funny enough, there's our PHP shell. All right, now let's try to run it and see what we get. Okay, it looks like it's just printing it out as a string, so it's not actually running it as PHP3. Let's try running it as. Let's change the extension to something else. Let's try. I've used PHP 5 in other ones. That usually works. If not, we can. There's also PHP. Oops. All right, got to change this from 3 to 5. Let's give 5 a shot. For sometimes when one doesn't work, just try another. Reload that. All right, let's try PHP 5. All right, so that uploaded. Now let's go to uploads. Let's give PHP 5 a shot. Okay, so PHP 5 looks like it's working because instead of dropping out the string where, just the text like it did last time, it's trying to communicate now. So if we go over here and go to where we have our our netcat, so we have a shell. So PHP 5 works. Like I said, there's different ones to try out. PHP 3, PHP 4, PHP 5, PHTML will also run as PHP. You just gotta figure out which ones have been sanitized and which haven't. Sometimes they'll only sanitize PHP. Other times you can get away with it, depending on how good the sanitization is. All right, so we have a shell, but once again, as you can see, it's just a regular shell. It's an unstable shell. It's not pretty, which is the most important thing. You can tell because you can't do things like up on Europads to see the history. You can't do anything like tab complete. Let's see, who am I? Okay, so we're just a regular user. All right, you can't do clear either because the term isn't set, so it doesn't. Clear isn't recognized as an operator. So let's import a nicer shell. First thing you want to do is check if there's Python. Let's do Python -- version. We are on Ubuntu, so the server that's running this web host is on Ubuntu, so there should be Python. There's Python 2. We're gonna do Python -c, the command line. We're gonna do import pty, Then we're going to do pty.spawn, and we're going to import bin bash. We're going to import our good old friend bin bash, and import that dude in. All right, so we got a bash, a little bash shell. It's looking a little better, but we still don't have history and all that. So we're going to now background this. What you want to do is you want to press Control Z, background it, right? Next thing you want to do is set up STTY raw, so it takes all our inputs directly raw. It's not going to transit or anything. Then minus echo, we're going to take away the echo. That way, it's not parroting every single thing that we input. You can press enter. Now at this point, when you type, you're not going to see anything because we took the echo away. So you're going to type FG. You're not going to see it, but it's there. Enter. FG for foreground. And then this is going to come up. You're going to press enter one more time. Boom. Okay, so now we're back here at our terminal. Now we need to export the terminal we want. So we're going to put export term, all in caps, equals xterm. And that's going to be our normal, more stable shell that we're used to working with. We're going to press enter. Now it looks like nothing changed, but if I press up on my arrow keys, we have history. And if I type clear, it clears out our screen. So now we're back to our more stable functioning shell. It's just something nicer to work with. Also, I have not been inputting this stuff in. What version of Apache is running? Well, we can go to our good old friend Wappleizer really quick. 2.4.29. We could have also used the nmap with the SV, the dash SV, for the version number. But I cleared that out and I'm too lazy to go back. So we'll just pull it up on Wappleizer. 2.4.29. We'll do 2.4.29. Cool, we got that. What service is running on port 22? 22 is SSH. I don't even have to look at that. Secure shell, for those that don't know. Cool. Find directories on the web server using GoBuster. Dude, we're already ahead of the curve, guys. What is the hidden directory? We saw panel is the hidden directory. Oh, there's another hidden directory? Okay. Was it uploads? It's not. Oh. Did we miss a directory? Uploads panel. Let's go back to our GoBuster. I don't see any other useful directory. Oh, wait, I think we gotta input it in this format. Wow, never mind. Input it in this format, and we got the correct answer. Okay, my bad. Important to look at what format they're asking for the solution in. All right, find the form to upload and get a reverse shell, and find the flag. Already light years ahead. All right, so the flag's called user.txt. So that makes it a lot easier for us to find the flag. We're going to use find. We're going to start from the root directory. The type, we're going to make sure it's a file because we're not looking for any directories or anything like that. Although if it ends in .txt, you find a file anyway. That's fine. Dash name. It's going to be user.txt. Now, a lot of the times, the find command is going to try to access a directory that we don't have access to. And it's going to come, if that happens, it's going to come back as an error because we don't have permissions to access it. Now, we don't care about those. So anything that comes back as an error comes as a standard error 2 is the standard error. You have standard in, standard out, standard error. The standard error is depicted by the number 2. So anything with a 2, we're going to send it to dev null directory, which is like the trash can. It's basically sending it into the void where nobody's going to see it and, just send it into the abyss. We're going to send it there. And now let's run this. Now we're just going to wait for it to run. It's going through all these directories. It's scrolling through. Okay, we found something in var www user.txt, which ironically, not ironically, but var www is where the Apache server lies. So user.txt, I guess that makes sense. So let's cat var www user.txt. And here's our first flag. TryHackMe, you got a shell. So let's just copy that over. Go that into here. Paste it. Zoom in for you guys. Awesome. We got that down. All right. Now it says search for files with SUID permission. So SUID permission allows you is a permission set where it allows other users to run a certain program as a different user. In most cases, as a super user. So whenever you're running sudo, for example, when you do sudo and then whatever command you're running sudo as a super user, even if you're not super user. Just obviously it asks for a password to make sure. But that's for example a type of command that runs that kind of system. So let's look up once again. Let's clear this out. So when we're looking for that, we're going to find start from the root directory again. We're going to go to -perm for permission, and there's two ways we can write this. We can write this as -4000, which 4000 is the numeric value, the minimum numeric value for anything with an SUID on it. So you can do that, or you can do -u equals s. It doesn't matter either way. In this case, it's where the -u user equals super user ID. And we're going to do once again, we're going to send any errors we get to dev null. All right, we're going to find there. Yep, starting from there. Cool. We got a good amount of stuff. All right, let's see if anything stands out. Like a lot of things are going to have super user permissions by default. Like usually ping. Let me see what else stands out. SSH key sign for OpenSSH. Obviously, these will require some sort of authentication for most of those. Password, sudo, like we mentioned earlier. Password. Now, there is one that my eyes gravitated to as soon as I saw it, and that's Python. Python does not need super user permissions, which is weird. So, one thing I want to do then is see LSL. And let's see what kind of permissions are on here. Okay, so it looks like it's not a directory, so it's going to be blank, but it's got read, write, and then the execute. It's being executed as root, who's the owner. It'll be executed as root by whoever executes it. So, or as the root group, and any user like us can execute it. So that's always something interesting. Okay, so you can execute Python functions as that. Now, Python does have, as we saw earlier, there is Python. It does have the -c command, so we can just run everything within the line. We don't actually have to write to a Python file because we didn't have write permissions, but we can actually execute it using this. So it's not even going to write to it; it's just going to straight up execute it. One thing we want to look at here is GTFO bins. GTFO bins, let's see, it is SUID. GTFO bins has really, really cool. There we go, SUID. And binary, let's see. You got anything for Python here? Python, awesome. Let's look up the SUID for Python. All right, open that up. All right, that's the library load. We don't need that. All right. If the binary has the SUID bit set, it does not drop the elevated privileges and may be abused to access the file system, escalate or maintain privileged access, which we're trying to do, as a USID backdoor. If it used to run, omit the P argument on systems like Debian, that allows a default shell to run with SUID. All right, we're on Ubuntu. Okay. Creates a to interact with an existing SUID binary, skip the first command and run the program using its original path. Okay, so we can skip this. We don't need to install this. So let's just copy this over. And this is going to run from the Python. This is assuming we're in the Python library. So first, let's copy from here, actually. We're going to use an absolute path to it. But it's going to give us the -c, because we're going to run in the command line. It's going to import an OS, right, the operating system library. And from here, it's going to execute a bin shell. From here. Okay, perfect. So let's give this a shot. Right, so let's back this up. So we need to run it from the Python path, which was it user bin Python. Okay, sweet. I think we made a nicer shell, or else this would have been more difficult. In Python, and then we just run it without, straight to -c. Paste the rest in. The import OS execute bin shell, and it's going to be a shell. Okay, so let's try this out. And if you see a pound sign, or as the younger generation calls it, a hashtag, that's a good sign that we are root. You can double check that by saying, "Who am I?" And we are in fact root. Dollar sign, non-root. Pound sign, root. All right. Where are we? All right, we're in the main directory. Okay, awesome. So let's see if there's any more questions in it. Search for files with SUID permission, and we said that was what was that? I think it was user bin. It was user bin Python. Let me just double check. Yeah, user bin Python. Sweet. I gotta double check. Some of these places put like the weirdest locations for their binaries. Find a form to escalate your privileges. Done. And now we're looking for a root.txt. Oh, same thing. Go back to our good old friend, the find here, and we're gonna look for. In this case, we don't need permissions because we're root. We're root. So we're just gonna put dash name, and we're gonna put root.ext. And just in case there's any weird errors for whatever reason, I don't want them to blow up my screen, so I'm just gonna throw this anyway. Oh, and it's in root. Okay, so let's cat root. Oh, that's right. Unfortunately, we did create a new shell, so now we don't have our pretty shell anymore. So that's fine. We just kind of manually type this all out. And I messed up again. And there's no clear. Okay, at least we have clear. Okay. Cat root. Root. Text. Hey, there we go. And that should be our final flag. Privilege escalation. Quick submit. And boom, just like that, we've solved it. All right, guys, that about does it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a pretty basic capture the flag, but it does at least teach us that there are ways around whitelist and blacklist for all sorts of things, from this to other items when you're doing server side request forgeries, all that stuff. There are ways to get around blacklist and whitelist. But that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you enjoyed about it. Tell me what you want to see next. Make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We're going to be doing all sorts of new stuff, more web hacking as well. Like that's going to be coming up. And if you're looking for any specific tutorials, let me know in the comment section. We'll try to include it in our next one. That's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Later.